What's up, people? Right, it's the final verse, final video. All right, so employment. Right, so again, there's many aspects of the matrix. But we're gonna go into because it's a whole different world when you become successful as well. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into employment, okay? Because the lifestyles of the rich and famous, some of them are free to do what they want with their money, and some of them aren't. Some of them still have to kind of abide by certain rules. Jeffrey Epstein, it wouldn't surprise me if maybe he messed up somewhere, and that's why all of his kind of shady dealings and shady things have been brought to light. Or maybe he done so much, he was so brazen with it that they said, look, we can't cover up all of this, Jeffrey Epstein. You've done too much. It's just you've done so much of it that we can't hide it. There's nothing. We can't silence this, Jeffrey Epstein. But anyway, in regards to employment, and again, I think a millionaire once said to me, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So that plays a part in it as well. I've tried to explain to people, when you go for your lower class jobs, it doesn't, it doesn't entail that much when you're going for your lower class jobs. But as you start to get into the ladder and you say 50k above that, it then becomes almost like like with most actors and politicians and singers and all those kind of people, a lot of the time they say, it's the public that got his hair. We owe the public. And you get members from the public saying, we own you, in a sense. We're the one that, support you and this and that. And I think when you're at 50k, it's almost like, the environment you're in owns you. Your workplace kind of owns you. And they're able to kind of get away with certain things that they wouldn't get away with had it been a 10k job. You may then find yourself kind of having to go to certain parties, to certain meetings, to befriend your boss, doing out of work favors for your boss that has nothing to do with you working. You then have to kind of stay silent on certain views. You find that your whole values, morals, principles change. They change to what is you have to kind of bite your tongue. And this ties into the next video that I'm going to do, because this is really important. And the next video was called Lost in Limbo, actually, because I'm going to explain the story on that as well, because that's a very important story, with a well-known singer that entered the store with her father, and her father didn't really support her, in my opinion. And we have to ask ourselves why is it that she experienced racism in the store, and her father dealt with it, in my eyes, in a very diplomatic way, where most other fathers might have lost it a little. He was very diplomatic. He also kind of when his daughter was very upset and became a bit kind of agitated and angry, he said to his daughter, make yourself small. So he also kind of what's the word, damn, he also silenced his daughter from speaking up for herself. What does that say about him? Okay, when you're going into these high paid jobs, okay, a lot of the times you end up kind of having to accept certain things that you wouldn't normally accept, listen to certain things that you wouldn't normally listen to, okay, endure certain things that you wouldn't endure at the bottom level, because you wouldn't have to. You could tell the person, shut up, man, you fool, shut up. At that level there, you kind of have to, because it's the epitome of playing the game, the epitome of it. If you're not playing the game, then you get kicked out very quickly. But if you are playing it, you may get invited to other little things. Okay, same thing with me. The millionaire said to me, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if I would have played the game and been like Forrest Gump, if I would have been like, life is like a box of chocolates, and if he would have said to me, Luke, sometimes because this guy looked like Mr. Bean, the guy that I was around, right? And he looked, no, sorry, he looked like Harry Enfield, okay? And he was very funny. I remember saying to him, he looked so much like Harry Enfield. And he'd pretend to be Harry Enfield. And he'd go, oh, do I? Like that. But he was very sinister. He was a very sinister guy. He said, listen, I don't have any friends, you know, I don't have friends. And the person that introduced me to him was his best friend. Like, it was a black guy, and this guy, this millionaire guy, was his friend. But he's turned around and said to me, the millionaire, look, I don't have any friends. So he's basically saying to the black guy that thought this guy was his best friend, you're not my best friend. You know, I just stayed quiet. And basically what he was doing was offering me the opportunity to maybe push that guy to the side, sell my friend out that introduced me in the first place, and I become his new puppet or whatever it is. And if I would have just shut my mouth and went on board, he would have showed me all kinds of things, you know. One day I'll probably be coming into his house and he'd say, Luke, do you want to have sex with my wife? It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. But that's what I say about employment. In order for a lot of people to be employed in high paid jobs, you have to almost sell your soul to the devil, you know, put your signature on that dotted line and sell your soul to the devil. Because if you go in there with this kind of Jehovah Witness, high and mighty type attitude, and you start calling things out as you see them, you're not going to last too long in that particular job. And that's what I found. The problem with me is that I can't, it's written all over my face. If I see certain things that are if I see, you know, people being victimized, if I see people being bullied, if I see people being discriminated against, if I seen someone working a job for 10 years and then someone comes there for a year and gets to be promoted above them and things like that, it's going to be hard for me to bite my tongue, and that's always let me down. You know, I think that's a part of my mental health. That's always let me down. I don't like injustice. I don't like it. So for me, it's always been a struggle. You know, I can act my way into any job. I can play the game. Believe me, I can act my way into it. I can be your best friend. I can do all of that fake stuff and everything else. But after a while, the real me, I can try and hold it in, but my face just says, no, this is wrong. This is wrong on so many levels. But that's what you have to be willing to do, unfortunately. And sometimes that's not just for black people, that can be for white people as well. Although, as we know, the colour of your skin plays a huge part in it. You're most likely to get amongst them a lot easier with white skin than what you are black. It goes without saying, okay, part of this systemic racism. Moving on to the last and final one, is things like, and before we go into the government, let's go into music, because this is important as well. Because in one of my videos, the George Floyd, What is White Privilege, Part 3, I said, you know, that us black people are bumping into each other on the street, and that's for things like rap music and this and that. And there'll probably be a lot of white people saying, yeah, but listen, but why you do those songs then, mate? If you guys know that you're killing each other, mate, and it's promoting you guys to be out there on the street killing each other, then why would you do that? Why even promote those kind of music, mate? What makes sense, mate? Why am I gonna sing music, mate, calling my own women bitches? You know what I mean? Why would I do something like that? It doesn't make sense. Why am I gonna call my own woman a bitch, and call my best friend the N-word and all that kind of stuff, and talking about killing N's and all that? Why am I gonna do all that stuff? Who does that? I'll tell you why they do it. They do it because you got to understand that the people in the suits, the white collared people, okay, some of them in America say it's the Jews that's running it, the same way they're running Hollywood and things like that, because I think it works for the film industry the same way it does for the music industry. And I've made it clear over here that British TV is extremely racist. Is extremely racist. Okay, again, my eyes need to stick out my head. Extremely racist. Okay, they've been racist for the last easily. I would say I remember saying to a friend in the year 2000 that it's gone backwards. I remember saying to them, and there was something that caused it to go backwards as well. The only thing I can remember really be the Y2K, but I remember saying to them it's gone backwards, because in the 90s there was black shows on TV, and there was one or two black role models on TV. But when the Y2K came, I remember hearing people say, right, go back to your own country now, and it was shocking to me because we'd almost gone round in circles. Although the 90s was racist as well, but I think it was more covert racism from Y2K. Although I can't even say that because I do remember people in the Y2K saying, you know, go back home and all that kind of stuff, and a few celebrities coming out as being racist and things like that. But I've always preached about how black people, if they try to write positive scripts on TV, it gets rejected by white directors, by white filmmakers or whatever. It gets rejected. The script gets rejected. I said to you in my previous video that I done before this, where I talked about I can't remember what you call it now. The previous video that I done before this, I basically talked about how what was I talking about now? Damn, I've actually lost my train of thought. Give me 1 second, guys. Basically, I'll get back. I forgot what I was saying. So basically, yeah, all I would say is that basically people don't have freedom. Black people don't have freedom of creativity in the film industry. Okay, because that's what I was talking about. How I used an example of the previous video. How a black person was told, this is how you act black. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. It's the same thing in regards to scripts. If there's a script that I wrote now, and I said, yeah, the black person walks in a tie and a suit, and he says, excuse me, I'm looking for this. Could you help me find this, please? Some white person might say, no, but that's not how you black people are. How about he walks up and he goes, yo, bruv, listen, I'm from the ends, innit? I'm looking for a little, you know, give me a little something, no? And they change it into something that how they see it, how they view it through their eyes, okay? And I think a lot of black script writers have said, well, if that's the case, then don't put my script on TV, full stop. There's a series called Baby Father, back in the day. Check it out for yourself and check out his views on things and how he sees things. Check out online Baby Father and how they changed up his script and made it more racist, really. And it's the same thing with the music industry. Don't think that positive black music hasn't come through on the scene. Some of it that actually would sell, some of it that you would drive your car and be bumping the music to, but it gets, for some reason, it gets rejected. In America, they claim it's because of the Jews. I don't know if it's kind of the Jews, but what I do know, that 100% positive music is being rejected. Listen to Eminem's story. His first album, according to him, was a positive one that was rejected. He said people didn't want to hear it. It wasn't given the chance. It was garbage. Okay? When it is music that promoted hatred, disrespect, cussing your own mother, saying you sleep with your own mum, and all kinds of slackness, all of a sudden now it's getting pushed to the top, you know? Although it wasn't as easy as that. Dr. Dre did have to fight on behalf of him, but still, negative music. So when white people are saying, well, why are you guys, you know, why are you doing all that music, mate, gangster rap music, talking about you kill each other and all of that? Because that's all they're promoting, okay? That's all they're promoting at the time. And they're leading these kids, you know, on some sort of fantasy trip, believing that they're going to become millionaires from their music and all that. It's not all of them that become millionaires, okay? Back in the day, loads of black people got done over. Saying to a friend the other day that when it comes to music, especially things like soul music from the 60s, even rock and roll, things like that, we're talking billions of money that black people were done over by. Okay, they've been robbed big time. It's not every black person that becomes successful. I think TLC said that they only earned, I think it was 70,000 each, but yet they sold over, I think it was 100 million copies or something like that. But they only got 70,000 each. So it's not as simple as you think it is. Even today, it's not as simple as that. So when you ask the question, why is it that there's so much negative music, and you know, black people are the ones behind it, the ones behind the music that's causing them to stab and kill each other, it's not as simple as that. It's been promoted by white people, okay? The same way you see certain movies, there's this new movie now on British TV, I can't remember what it's called, with these two black girls, again, negative stereotypes. And black people are so desperate to be on TV that they'll sell themselves out. They'll become coons to be on TV. I think they believe that, um, you know, just like a black man has to wear a dress to eventually become somewhat famous, these two black girls must assume that by selling themselves out in this series, they'll get a chance to maybe make it to Hollywood and become something better. But it doesn't always work out that way. Right. The last thing I want to say is the government. Okay. In regards to the government, and the last thing I want to say about the music is it's not just black people that are selling themselves out. It's also white people as well. I can't prove this. I mean, with the black people, I can prove everything I said. In regards to white people, I can't prove it. But I do remember Cat Williams saying about Playboy Mansion hosting parties and all kinds of things going on. Steve Harvey would have women doing all kinds of sexual favors to him before they could make it. I've heard certain men have had to indulge in homosexual activities in order to be promoted and things like that. So that's part of the matrix as well. Okay, even certain artists, R&B artists. Okay, but again, that's whole part of the whole system as well. And where just like Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, is that there's a code of silence. You know, you're not allowed to say certain things because if you do, they have a lot of dirt on you. Okay, they have you doing certain deeds, maybe to children and this and that, and they can bring these things out at any time, and kind of, you know, just totally destroy your career and destroy you for that matter. Okay, and if it's that high up, then who's to say people like, you know, Lisa Left Eye Lopez, who died in a car accident, Kobe, and all of the other people didn't, you know, they weren't onto something or they rebelled, and or told the system no. The last thing I want to say is, yeah, that's it basically, is the system, the government in itself. The government in itself cannot be trusted. There's a lot of things that's being done that we don't know about. Okay, a lot of things that are being done. There's a movie called Code of Silence, I think it's called. I showed it to a friend of mine the other day, about these children that were molested by top government officials. Okay. Even the UK over here in the 90s, there was a politician that used to sleep around with young boys. Okay, it wouldn't surprise me if I wouldn't say secret society, but if the rich involved certain rich people, or the more rich you became, you were kind of forcefully indoctrinated into that system. You know, you maybe went out, maybe they go out to some sort of maybe they're maybe they're brought to some sort of party one time and they see certain things, and you know they're told to keep their mouths closed, and you know maybe some of them are forced in, who knows. But what I do know is that the government is involved in a hell of a lot of things, especially the UK government and the American government. They control the media, they control the radios, they control YouTube. Google has become powerful now. They control everything. You know, we're being heavily brainwashed. Heavily brainwashed. Even with the Black Lives Matter things, I'm thinking to myself, why is it now, after all these years, that the news is suddenly on the side of black people? Because before we were monsters, we were savages, we were rapists and all of that. Now of a sudden now they're supporting us. What is the hidden agenda here? You know, have they suddenly changed their tune? Have they suddenly become nice people now? I doubt it. I doubt it. I said something to my friend the other day. I said, you know, whenever there's some sort of racism and injustice across the world, it's always British reporters that fly out there to do a story on it. But how much atrocities and wrongful doings and injustice is here in the UK that's being swept under the rug, but yet they want to fly aboard and pretend like they're heroes and all that kind of stuff. But all I want to say is that I'd love to do a whole piece on the government, but I don't really have to, because you know anyway. Okay, if you don't know, then you're you know, you're behind. You're behind. The government cannot be trusted on anything, and they control the media. Yeah, and sooner or later it's going to get to a stage, like I said in my previous video, that they have cameras, they have control of every camera in the sky, satellite camera and everything else. The UK's got more cameras. There's more cameras in London than what there is in the whole of New York, they were saying. it will get to a stage where they'll start to bug. They'll start to bug certain devices, which they already have, which I said in the beginning of the video. But we'll get to a point where that's kind of, they'll invade our privacy in that way. Last thing I want to say, just be careful of Facebook. Thank you for watching my videos, and yeah, and take care. Don't be ignorant to the system, and stop judging people, because you just don't know, especially if it's come from the news. You just don't know whether what you're seeing is real these days. Anyway, peace. Thanks for watching. I'm out.